Welcome to Jim Reynolds Outdoors, and I know a lot of you got a little taste of deer hunting last weekend. It was archery season, but today we are actually going to talk about on the farm. You know, we're about everything outdoors, including farm life and the way it used to be. And speaking of the way it used to be, I have got two guest hosts today that I want to introduce you to. It's Andy and Hedvig Goldsmith, and they are from here in the South Sebastian County area, and they're going to tell us a little bit about miniature Herefords and Angus lowline. So, Andy, tell us a little bit about what you're doing on your farm.
What I'm doing on my farm is I'm doing a great experiment with miniature Herefords, and where I got involved with that is that I had a good friend down in Texas when I lived down in there, and he was raising miniature Herefords and found that he could raise twice as many head on the same amount of pasture, and he had full size, but he loved the miniatures because he, like myself, we had grandkids, and they are so tame and mellow and different things that they're great. He'd set his grandkids on the back of their backs of the mama cows, and we would just have a great time. But anyway, we found that it's profitable, and that it's a great direction to go. It's different from where most of the cattlemen are going today. They think bigger is better and different things, and in a lot of ways, yeah, they're right. But for the small farmer like me, no, I've found that the miniature Herefords is really the way to go because they're not hard on my equipment. They don't tear up my pasture. They're easy to work with, and I get twice the bang for the buck. And so that's why I really like the miniature Herefords, and they're great, and they're registered, and I love it.
Well, you were telling me a little bit about maybe the marbling on the meat when you have them butchered.
Oh, that's the parts you're interested in. Now I see. Yeah, that part is great. They maximize their marbling to where they're actually above premium. And a lot of the restaurants really go for this because you look at the steaks and the roast and all, and they're petite, or they're smaller than the large size steaks and all, but it's perfect in a lot of ways for the people who like to order steak and not to have an oversized cut, but excellent in the marbling, and it's tender, and the grains of the meat actually is shorter because of the size of the cattle and all, and it truly is more tender.
Well, Hedvig, I'm going to ask you a question now. Behind every man is a great woman, not just a good woman, but a great woman. Hedvig, how did you get involved with all of these?
Well, I married him. So I think I was the reluctant farmer, like Jaja Gabor on Green Acres. That's kind of been my experience because I was raised in the city, and the first cow I saw was when I was 12. And so my big learning experience is mostly by trial and error. But I keep him involved, I guess, just by being his support system and doing whatever he needs for me to do to help him. I'm not really that strong in getting involved with the animals because they're still kind of big. And but I like the gardening, and we have a greenhouse, and I am, I guess, just his backup man or woman.
Well, he said that this was a grand experiment, and I'm sure you have a part to play in that as well. And then let's get back to these. We're going to talk about this Angus lowline. We talked a little bit about the miniature Herefords, but Andy, what about the Angus lowline?
The Angus lowlines is another area of the miniatures that is taken off and doing very, very well here in the United States. When we was out in Denver here a couple of years ago at the stock show, which is one of the major stock shows there, they had well over 400 Angus, low-line Angus up there that was showing. And it's a fabulous breed too, because of the fact they, like the Herefords, are very meaty, muscular. They put out a lot of great meat. And then two, being miniature, it's like the other term that we use is backyard beef, which makes it great for very small farmers or people who just want to raise one up to put in the freezer. This works great because when they slaughter it, it'll fit in the freezer.
Well, that's one thing that really interested me. So, you're talking about, we can have deer meat and we can have our steaks as well, because people that eat meat, they love both. And that's what we're talking about, as well as we can actually go into the hogs. You have a breed called the red wattle hogs. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
The red wattle hogs are a heritage pig. There's about 8 or 10 here in the United States that they consider to be heritage hogs. And the red wattlers is one of them. And the reason why, the red wattlers originally came over here with the French down into Louisiana area, and they brought them over because of the excellent quality of the meat that they had, and they were great at foraging, and they didn't have to feed them much, and they're gentle, very, very gentle. And so after reading and doing some research, I found out that's the direction I wanted. And especially, too, the meat that they put out is lean. It's not extra, doesn't have a whole lot of fat or lard like the breeds of your Hampshires, your Durocs, and those standard breeds that you find here in the fairgrounds. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to open up a new market and showing people that, hey, if you like lean pork, that has an excellent taste. In fact, we find that the chefs prefer the red wattler from the heritage hogs. This is their highest preferred hog that they like because of the dark, delicious meat that it puts out. And so we love it, and we find that I've got 10 hogs right now. I've got 3 mamas that, let me see, on Wednesday, they're due. And so I'll have between 20 or 30 new red wattlers running around.
Now, you're actually got these for sale as well. You want people to try these things and come to see you. What can they do if they want something as far as a Hereford or an Angus lowline or a red wattle hog?
Well, I have got an internet website, and it's mountainvalleycattle.com. And I've got my telephone number on there, but my telephone number is 479-639-0164, and they can just contact us, and we can set them up with red wattler pigs if they would like that. And there again, if they would like to have something to put in the freezer, or if they would like to kind of help us bring back this heritage breed into this area, I'm glad to help them.
Well, I know one thing I'd talk to you about was P. Allen Smith. He does a lot of heritage with poultry and some other animals as well, and you're kind of bringing it here to the River Valley here in northwest Arkansas and the Sebastian County area as well. And one thing and we'll end on this, Andy, one thing that really interested me was the history of, and you think about it, it makes sense when, they were coming over on ships and bringing these miniature breeds. It was a little bit easier to ship them over here on those kinds of ships as well, right?
Yeah, it was, but, don't be mistaken. They weren't considered miniature back when they brought them over at that time. At that time, that was the full, tall, the best beef that England could put out at the time. It's just that the good old Americans knew how to make them bigger and, in their mind, better. But what we've done is we've taken them back to that original size, which, hey, they'll come up about 4 foot high on us, and the mamas will probably top out at 800 pounds, and the big bulls, they'll top out maybe at 1,000 pounds. And you compare that to, 2,000-pound bull today, and the mamas, which are up in the 1,400 pounds, you can see that there's quite a difference. But they are hardy, and they are fabulous. I have not had any problem with diseases or anything. It's a great breed of cattle.
Well, tell our listeners one more time that website that they can go to.
That website is Mountain Valley Cattle.
MountainValleyCattle.com, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any last words?
No, it's just that, hey, I can tell you that, we have come home to paradise. We've been down in Texas now for about 30 years, and it's great to be back here in Sebastian County and home and being able to grow things like we are. We love it, and it's great to be home.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show today, and we'll talk to you next time. We'll be right back with more Jim Reynolds Outdoors in just a moment.